Hello everyone, welcome to another Education Quest Live. I am Jason again, and this month we have Becca and Michael, and they are here to talk to us about campus visits, their experience when they went on some college campuses and kind of how that went and how they planned for that. So hopefully their experience will help you while you're planning your campus visits. While we're doing this, if you're watching this live or if you're watching this recorded, there are comments on both Facebook and YouTube, and you can put any of your questions in there if you have questions for Becca or for Michael or for me, and we will be happy to answer any of those. So find comment boxes down below and over to the right, and any questions you have, we are happy to get those answered for you. But as always, we do have some pre-warm-up questions here. Just to get us started. So, Becca, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you go to school, what year you are, kind of the basics.
I go to Gretna High School. I am a senior there. Yeah.
Passions, hobbies? What do you...
I'm on the dance team at my
Awesome.
high school, and I dance outside of school too.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yes.
And do you know yet what you want to study when you go to college?
I want to study business.
Okay.
I'm not sure which type of business yet, but I definitely want to do business.
And did that kind of factor into this whole process for you?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure it did.
So have you known you wanted to do that for a while then?
No.
No?
I wanted to do medical for a
Oh,
while.
okay.
But business is more me, I think.
So when did you make that kind of change? Was that a senior year decision for you?
It was, I think it was just a couple months ago when I decided that I just wanted to do business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So-
years and years of school didn't seem very attractive.
Yeah.
You know, it happens with a lot of students. You know, they kind of, I really want to do this, and they take like anatomy, and it's like, nope, don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Done.
Yes.
Moving on. So let's talk about kind of the whole college planning experience for you guys. You guys have done your financial aid forms, right? And got all that stuff out of the way. When did you decide to start taking campus visits?
We started taking them this year. We didn't do any my junior year.
Okay.
But the summer going into my senior year, we kind of were just like, we probably should go visit some colleges to see where I want to go and decide what I want to do.
Okay. And how many visits did you take?
I've been on 5.
5.
Yes.
And do you remember the first one?
UNO.
Omaha.
University of Omaha.
Okay.
Yes.
Easy one.
Yes. Very
Being
close.
from Gretna.
Yeah.
It's a long trek, but I'm sure you made it okay. Weather might have been dicey.
Yeah.
When did you take that visit? Was it in the summer?
It was in the fall.
In the fall. Okay.
Yes.
It was cold.
It was cold.
It was cold.
It was cold.
It's Omaha.
Yeah.
And what were you thinking prior to going on that visit? Did you have any expectations?
So I planned on going to UNO
Mm-hmm.
since I was a sophomore, I think.
Okay.
So my expectation was just like, I've been to this campus before, but I would just get to know more about the school,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much, and just like knowing more about the like educational side of things, other than just like I've been on the campus to see my friends.
Right. So was it a little bit less maybe anxious for you because it's a campus you're familiar with, at least kind of the layout and that stuff?
For sure. I was more nervous going on other ones,
Yeah.
but since I've been to UNO before, it was just like, oh, okay, cool.
A little bit more informational
Yes,
then too.
yes. For sure.
So Michael, as a parent, what was your anticipation going on that first campus visit?
So it was pretty interesting, but I think some of the backstory of kind of how we got to where we are today versus where we started was, as Becca mentioned, she was pretty sure she wanted to go to UNO, and her mother and I discussed with her, before you decide,
Mm-hmm.
you need to go see other alternatives, whether
Right.
they be within Nebraska or outside of Nebraska. And through that process, we ended up in a different place than when we started.
Okay. So what other schools did you visit, Becca?
I visited the University of Lincoln,
Okay.
the University of Kearney,
Okay.
Nebraska Kearney, University of Iowa, and then the University of Kansas.
Okay. So we did some in-state, some out-of-state.
Yeah. Yes.
And different experience each time you visited?
I would say that campuses, they're all like pretty much the same.
Yeah.
You go on a tour, you see the important buildings, you see the dorms and stuff like that, but it definitely differs on which major you want to do with the college visits. It depends on like what you sign up for when you register for that visit.
Right.
So I guess that's how it differs.
So when you guys set up, probably more so the 4 that you kind of weren't planning on didn't have as much familiarity as opposed to Omaha, where, like you had mentioned, you've been on campus and stuff. Did you have knowledge going into it about how that process worked and setting that up and who you talked to set up those visits and who you wanted to talk to? Or was it kind of like the first one was just going to like, we're just going to see what happens and then go from there?
So I think that we kind of just were like, we're going to see what happens and go from there. But with the University of Omaha visit, we knew that I wanted to talk to admissions counselors and like get more in depth about business schools with the other visits to see what they were like. So that definitely helped.
And so who else, you mentioned talking to the admissions staff, who else did you want to talk to when you went on those visits?
I definitely wanted to talk to current students to see specific things, and each of my visits were led by current students. So that was super helpful because they were just like more my age than just some admissions counselor like walking me through campus. It was someone who was actually on the campus. So that was nice to talk to them.
Did you feel like they gave you a lot of information about, like life as a college student here and some of the stuff that's not, we always say, you take a campus visit to find out things that are not in a college brochure, not on the website. There's all that stuff that...
Yeah, it was nice for them to be able to answer like questions I had, and it wasn't just in like on the website or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Professors, did you talk to anyone, any of the educators, anything like that, or did you kind of stick to support staff and
So
guys?
I don't think I talked to any professors.
Okay.
But
we actually talked to who was a professor but also the head of the business school.
Yes.
Okay.
In a couple of different schools to kind of find more about their program and kind of the benefits of the things that were specific to the business school. And at least a couple of the visits, we got a specific like guided tour of the business school and the facilities there. So we got a really good idea of not only the campus overall, but where she would be spending a lot of her time, and kind of the support services around her program.
So as a parent, when you guys went on these visits, were you looking for information from some of those people that you guys were meeting with, or were you kind of like letting her drive the bus?
I think we let her drive the bus, but her mother and I definitely had questions and things we wanted to have answered and things that we wanted to dig into, and the more visits we went on, the better we got.
Right.
Because that first one we just kind of sat through it, and then we had a couple of questions. The next one, we found out more stuff and kind of had wished we had asked those questions in the school before that.
Right.
And then as we kind of went from school to school, I don't want to say became experts, but we were certainly better equipped to ask the questions.
Right.
And so one thing I'd recommend is if you're going to go on several college visits, save the ones you're very, most serious about till the end or towards the end, because you learn a lot along the way about the things you like and don't like and the things that interest and don't interest you.
So one of the things that we have on our website is essentially just like a little handout that has common questions and stuff that you can ask of admissions reps and financial aid offices and that stuff. So for those of you watching, we'll put a link to that in the description. But that's a great resource for you to have, just so that you make sure that when you go on those visits, you're asking the same question to the same people at each campus, so that when you go back to your evaluation process, it's an apples to apples kind of comparison. We hear that a lot from families, like, oh, I wish I would have asked this question of the first school we went to, because now I don't know if they have that same thing or that same kind of program or something like that.
Well, and through the process we went through, we're actually revisiting as well, right? Because of what we learned, and so that we can do the apples to apples comparison.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea to go back through, especially if if you go to an early campus visit and you go, yeah, this really is a school maybe I want to take seriously and stuff, then it doesn't hurt to go on a second visit and see something different. So. I think you mentioned a little bit at the out-of-state ones, maybe not. Did you take any residence hall visits? Did you stay overnight at any of them? Do any of the overnight?
No, I didn't stay overnight, but in the registration for the visit, you can say that you want a residence hall tour. So I did say that because dorms are like super important to me for next year.
Because you spend a lot of time there.
Right. So yeah, I toured a lot of those dorms.
Yeah. Did you notice that there was a lot of difference between the colleges, as far as how that campus tour registration process went, or how they conducted their tours? Was there a lot of difference to them, or did you just kind of feel like they all basically did it the same way?
I would say when registering for the campus visit, they were all pretty much the same. You just sign up and pick what you want to do. But I guess the process of going on the visit was actually pretty similar too.
The way they use a similar app for choosing roommates. I would say there was a pretty significant difference in the facilities, though, from school to school. Some of them had, everything from almost dedicated apartments to, community shared, spaces and bathrooms down the hall, and what you think of as a kind of an old school traditional dorm setup versus maybe what they've done in some of the schools that have redone their facilities recently.
Yeah.
So have you selected which school you're going to, or are you still kind of thinking about a couple different?
I have decided I'm going to KU.
Okay.
Yep. Put my enrollment fee in a couple weeks ago.
Done.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's certainly... What process did you use to narrow that down? Because, you were looking at 5 different schools, and, we had talked about you kind of initially thinking you were going to stay here in Omaha, and now you're going to Kansas, So
he actually made me make a spreadsheet of all the factors that I, needed to consider. So, how far away from home, what's the cost, what's the dorms like what's important to me, the business school, all of these things that I had to consider. So I guess it's a good thing that he did make me make
Did you weight things? Were there certain aspects that were more important to you, or was it kind of just like everything the same, which one scores best?
I definitely weighted away from home, how far away from home, and then the cost of things. Those are the 2 most important things to me, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And looking back on the whole process of going through and registering for them and that stuff, is there anything you can think of that you would have done differently, or that you wish you would have done that you didn't get a chance to do?
I would say talk to financial aid quicker, more
sooner in the process.
Sooner, yes, because of the credits that I'm bringing in from high school, and seeing how much money I can save with those and stuff like that. Doing that sooner.
Did you wait until the campus visits to talk to financial aid, or was it after your visit that you finally thought, well, maybe I should talk to those people?
I don't think we really have yet.
Okay.
Going to. on our second visit. We're going on that in a couple of weeks. So we're definitely going to do that. Yeah.
But that's a good point that she made was through her high school program and the dual credit program, she's collected enough classes and credit hours that she's starting essentially as a sophomore, second semester sophomore, technically, depending on just how many transfer, and from a financial perspective, or being able to finish in 4 years, that really helps that situation, because technically she could probably get done in 3 years if she really, dug in and tried. But what some of the admissions people we talked to was those dual credit hours really helped students finish in 4 that would have traditionally finished in 5.
Right.
And it is such a minuscule cost compared to what the university fees and costs are. So you'll never get a credit hour cheaper than through your high school.
Absolutely. And we've written a few blogs on that, about that, the dual credit process and the value that brings in both the admissions and just kind of being prepped and ready for everything that college has, but then also the financial aid aspect of that, of just kind of pushing you down the line, a little bit sooner at a much, much cheaper cost. So, Michael, as parents, was there things that you thought of that you wish you would have done differently or done that you didn't get a chance to do?
Well, quite candidly, I wish I hadn't suggested she go check out all these schools because I wanted her in Omaha. But I think through the process, it was a learning experience for us all.
Right.
I think we ended up in the best place through those, going through those different processes and talking to all those different people. I don't know that I would do anything different other than maybe start earlier, because we compressed a lot of visits into a couple of months.
Yeah.
Whereas if we had started earlier, we could have probably spaced that out, and it wouldn't have been, she wouldn't have missed quite so much school together. We wouldn't have missed so much work together going on those visits. But other than that, I think the process went really well.
Yeah. Good. Well, there's always some value in just kind of the experiential learning of it, of getting on campus and kind of going through that. I think to kind of wrap us up, we always kind of like to ask, just generally what kind of advice you have, specifically for you, being a high school senior. We're probably looking at a lot of sophomores and juniors that are kind of watching this, and so they're kind of moving into that space that you are. What advice would you have for those high school students that maybe are taking their first or second campus visit?
I would say to, even if you have the slightest interest in that school, to visit it, and to really think of yourself on that campus, to see if you can see yourself going to that school, being in that town, being on that campus, and really just think about it to yourself, because that's all that really matters, is what you want to do and where you see yourself at school. Yeah.
Michael, from the parents' perspective, any advice that you give to, especially parents that this is their first student going off to college?
Probably nothing more than I've already said. Is start early. Go into it understanding that you're going to learn along the way. So start maybe with your second or third choice, fourth choice first, and then learn on those. And so then when you get to the schools you're really serious about, if you're considering going completely out of state for everything, I would say there's a lot of value getting your practice visits in close to home, that they're quick and less impactful and not having to travel. When we went to KU, that was all day. When we went to UNO, we were able to do that, in less than half a day. So it was good that we started with that one, because it was a good kind of learning.
Yeah.
But, go through it very methodically. I think, doing the pros and cons made a lot of sense and helped us, kind of arrive at where we ended up. But all in all, it's a very interesting process, if nothing else.
Well, thank you both for joining us today, coming in and sharing your experience. Hopefully everyone watching got a lot out of that. I know I certainly got a lot out of your experience. So congratulations on making your choice and good luck in college. And for everyone watching, thank you for joining us. We will do another Education Quest Live next month. So make sure, keep an eye on our social. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check out our YouTube channel for any videos that you need that'll help you get through financial aid, campus visits, and all that good stuff. And if you have any questions, comments down below, or reach out to us and DM us, and we'll be sure to get your questions answered. And we'll see you next month. Bye.